What is good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy, Akil, back with another live video. This is my first live video of the new year, first live video in probably 2, maybe 3 years. So, feeling good. Glad I'm able to jump on here and just chop it up with you guys, answer questions, just have some kind of laid back conversation as opposed to my typical style of videos that I've been putting out lately. So for everybody that's in here, drop a comment. Let me know if you can hear me well, if you can see me well, because I'm trying out StreamYard. I haven't used StreamYard in a while. So I'm thinking everything should be sounding good, looking good, but this is the first one, so we're gonna just improve the quality and the sound and everything as I go. But I'm looking forward to putting out more lives moving forward. So today's topic, I was thinking to myself, what exactly did I want to talk about, right? And I was thinking to myself, uh, okay, Nicole says she can hear me. All right, thank you. Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, like, why do people resell? What is the reason for people reselling? And I wrote down a few different reasons that came to the top of my mind. Of course, I'll go through all of them with you guys, but as I'm going through as I'm thinking about them, and I'm talking about all of the individual reasons, drop a comment. Let me know why is it that you guys resell? Because I'll start off with me. My initial reason for starting to resell started a few years ago. This is 8 years for me doing this full time, but I was reselling since 2008 when I was like buying and selling shoes. And I just wanted the extra money. I was collecting sneakers, specifically foam posits and like basketball sneakers at that time. If you're a shoe collector, 08, 09, during that era, that was like Nike basketball era. So during that time, I just wanted to be able to afford my sneaker collection, buy and sell different shoes, and grow my collection and buy the stuff that you couldn't typically find in stores. Right, that was the main thing for me. And in 2016, when I quit my job, no, that was probably 17. Yeah, that was February of 17. I quit my job. That was one of the first skills that I knew that I had. Like I knew I can sell things online. So I literally just took that same skill, that same mentality of buying and selling my own stuff, things that I already owned. I just took that same mentality and I basically started a business from scratch. So there's been many pivots along the way, but I do think that one of the biggest things, at least for me today, is that reselling has just granted me the flexibility to move how I wanted to move through moving from different states. Of course, I lived in New York. Didn't do too much reselling in New York because I was already in college at that time, but started reselling in New York, uh, moved to Northern California. That's where I really picked up my business. That's where I really started it. Then moved to Southern California and really took off and got some steam going. And then moved to Arizona, and here we are now, still going strong. So I think if I wasn't reselling and I didn't have this skill, I probably wouldn't have been able to move around as much as I've been moving around. So the flexibility for me has been key. And now, of course, having two children, you know, the beauty of it is being able to see my kids grow up. Like during this crazy stage when they're growing up and them growing up so fast, a lot of men specifically, we don't even get the chance to see our kids grow up because we're having to go to work, whether it's a 9 to 5 or overnight, or sometimes it's a 9 to 5 and it's overnight. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of us, a lot of men, we don't get the chance to see our kids grow up. So for me, I don't take that for granted at all. Just being able to, be here and move how I want to move, run my business how I want to run my business. So it's been a blessing overall. But I definitely want to hear why some of you guys resell. Nicole says, I resell to make my money back from the stuff I purchased. Also, it really helped me pay off some debts that I had. Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's one of the, for me, anytime I buy anything, I usually always would like get rid of something else because I try not to hoard too much stuff. I try not to hold on to too many items for too long. Specifically, what I'm thinking of is like clothes, whether it's like if I upgrade something from my laptop, if I upgrade like my camera, like perfect example, I upgraded my microphone on my camera and then I sold the old one just because I knew there was some value to that some value with that microphone, and there's no real need to hold on to it. And that microphone ended up selling for $60, and when I bought it, it was like $20. So great way to kind of balance it off. But I love how you said you also use that to pay off some debt, because I know that is everybody needs extra money right now. In today's economy, everybody needs extra money. So if you have a skill like reselling where you're able to leverage that skill and make some extra money, I think that's crucial. That's one of the main reasons why I think anybody gets into reselling, is for that extra income. And whether it's a side business, a side hustle that you want to do, or even if it's whether it's a side hustle to make extra money, or even if you're doing it full time like me, where it's like that's your thing and you're really going full steam ahead with it. It's just so big. It's important. It's important. My wife's in the building. What's up, Dom? What's up? Bonzella Riggs. Good evening. Good evening. How you doing? I hope everything is good. But yeah, man, I think when it just comes down to the flexibility of reselling, it's everything. It's the main reason why I think I'm still doing it, because even as I was getting ready for the live today, I'm thinking of just the state of the economy. Just I'm always thinking of the state of the economy. Really, I think I've been way more aware of how things and how business is and how the overall economy is since I've got into reselling. Since I started my own business, it's become that much more important to me. I know when I was younger, I wasn't so involved in current events, but nowadays, and I'm still not like super focused on like politics and super focused on like looking at stock prices and market watch and stuff like that. I try to be aware, but if you put too much stock into it, no pun intended, it definitely will kind of bring your mood down a little bit. So I try not to get too crazy involved in it. But I've realized, with the news, right? Everybody's talking about how the economy is right now, and it's not doing well. It's not doing. It's no. I'm not breaking news here. Everybody knows the economy isn't doing great. But I think a lot of resellers, we almost we have our hand on the pulse, because when the economy was booming, sales was booming. People were shopping like crazy. However, now that we see the economy isn't as great, there is less people that is, willing to spend money. And one thing that I've realized is that people are still shopping, because I'm still, able to make a full-time income on this, but I have realized prices have gone down. Like I used to sell some thinking of something off the top of my head, like on running shoes, right? I just made a short about that earlier today. And at one point I used to sell those shoes for like 60 or 70. No, I'm lying. Definitely closer to $100, especially if they were really good condition. I would sell them joints for like 80 to sometimes $100. I just sold a pair that was practically brand new, probably worn once or twice, and those ended up selling for $60. So it really let me see that it just made it really clear that people are still willing to spend money, because regardless of the economy, I think people always want to look good. People always want to buy decent clothing. Everybody wants to have nice things. No matter how the economy is, people always want nice things. However, I've realized that if the price just has to be right, the price has to be something that they're willing to spend. And I remember in 2008, I watched this one interview where this guy, he was buying storage units, and he said in 2008 he had to switch around his entire business model. And I think he was basically a reseller at that time. I don't think he was doing a ton of business on eBay. I think he had his own retail shop, his own brick and mortar location, but he literally like started selling things really cheap. He was known for selling antiques and selling things that were more high end. And in order to kind of keep his business afloat, in 2008 during the Great Recession, he started selling items for like $20 or less. So I'm starting to just think of those times and see how I can adapt and incorporate some of those buying and selling habits into my business, because As you all know, I'm very big on average sale price, and I have a very small store, so I'm very big on having a small store but large profits. And I think one of the pivots that I might have to make to keep my business afloat in terms of moving forward for 2024 is just to start selling cheaper items, because for a long time I've always heard that the average sale price on eBay is between 20 and 25 bucks, especially if you're dealing with used clothing. And for me, I try to keep my average sale price around like 60 bucks. So I might have to make a pivot, might have to switch things around and do something like that. But drop a comment. Let me know why you guys are reselling. That is the question of the day. Why are you all reselling? Got a question from Clement. Are you still on Poshmark? And if so, how is that going with sales? Yeah, so I'm still on Poshmark. I never really got off of Poshmark, but I have taken my foot off the gas in terms of like buying a ton of clothing, sourcing specifically for Poshmark. For me, anytime I'm in a thrift store, I'll check the jackets, I'll check shirts, I'll check shoes. Of course, those are some of the main places I check. Bags, of course, as well, because bags usually sell for a decent amount of money depending on the brand. But for me, once I realized I had to get back to Poshmark was when I just made that video not too long ago. I think that was my most recent video. What sold on Poshmark. I just had to put more emphasis in Poshmark. I had to make sure that I was doing the sharing. Had to make sure that I was cross-listing my items on there, and my sales have been doing well. I used to do a lot of money on Poshmark. For those that have been following my channel when I was doing a lot of Poshmark stuff back in like 2019, there was a point when I was making like $1,500 a month on Poshmark, sometimes 2,000. And my primary way of doing that was sourcing specifically for Poshmark because I knew people's um, really wanted like good quality clothing, but they didn't want to spend more than like $30. And that was how I was able to really do really well on Poshmark. So I was sending out a ton of packages, a ton of cheaper items, and moving them really quickly. Like, and this is before I was even using some of the sharing platforms, the sharing apps, the sharing bots. I would just put an item up, put the price for say 19 or 29. Very rarely did I have anything for more than $29, and I'm just sharing all day long, sharing manually, and it worked. And I need to get back to doing that because drop a comment. I have a question for you guys too. What sharing apps are you guys using? Because I was using Flip for a long time, and Flip now they're charging $9 a month. And I just wanted to know if you guys are using Flip, if you guys are even aware of Flip, or if you guys are using something else. Because I know there's a ton of different sharing platforms out there, but I want to spend more time and energy on Poshmark. So let me know if you guys are using any, which sharing platforms you guys are using. Let's see. Nicole says, I've also had to take way more offers than I did in the past, but I'm thankful for sales. Absolutely. I realized that too. For a very long time, I was not taking best offers on items for a very long time. More recently started accepting offers on items. And it started by me making a mistake on one of my listings, literally just hitting the sell similar option, and offers was on an item, and the person offered me like $5 less than my asking price, and I just went ahead and accepted it. But I realized that, as long as the offer isn't ridiculous, I'll accept it. But for a very long time, as you all know, I used to be king of just being really pissed off when I get a low ball offer. I just stopped accepting offers altogether. But as long as it's not a ridiculous offer, I'm willing to accept it. And I've realized that in today's economy, you kind of also have to make those slight adjustments. So we'll see. Majority of my store is still no offers on there, but I'm not gonna completely close off to it. I'm a little open to accepting offers nowadays. But like you said, just thankful for the sales, because at the end of the day, sales are slow for a lot of us. So if you're able to still capitalize on the sale and take a little less money, I mean, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. My wife goes, how much money do you think someone needs to start reselling? That's a good question. I mean, typically when I tell people is to start with your own closet, right? So start with whatever you have around the house. Start with, you know, if you got some old shoes, some old clothes you're not using, some old electronics that you're not using, maybe you upgraded your phone and you have your old phone sitting around. Those types of stuff is the first thing to go with. And then I would say try hitting up garage sales and set a small budget. Say maybe you want to spend $100 that weekend, or maybe $50 that weekend, and you just hit up a bunch of different garage sales. And with the garage sale, way to go about sourcing, you can kind of haggle, you can negotiate for lower prices. A lot of people, sometimes depending on the time you go, they might just give it away to you, so you can come up on inventory that way as well. But I think a good amount of money to start off with is, I would say, you could start with $100 and literally just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. But the focus is to buy items that are good quality items that have a good sell through rate. And when I say a sell through rate, I mean how fast does the item sell? Like if there's 100 items listed and only five sold in the last 90 days, that's probably a really bad item to pick up. However, if you're picking up a bunch of items that 100 items are listed and 200 sold, if you could get your hand on a ton of those type of items and brands, now you're really in business and you can really flip your money a lot faster. So I wouldn't say it necessarily depends on how much money. I think it just depends on what you have to sell, and how good is your eye to find good stuff. But thank you for that question, my love. Let me see. Only on eBay for years. Still worth cross listing to Posh, given they have so many lives. I have no interested. I have no interest in lives at the moment. Yeah, I think Poshmark has been pushing those live shows. I know I still haven't done one. I mean, this is my first live anything in like 2 years, so I'm definitely not the one that Poshmark is trying to like cater to. But I mean, I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely still worth cross listing. I was actually just on Poshmark last night. I had a few items that I was listed on eBay that was not in my Poshmark closet. I had some dress shoes, some loafers. Yeah, just I think it was 3 pairs of loafers, and I cross listed those from eBay to Poshmark. It's about 20 items in total, and I shared my closet 3 times maybe in about an hour, and I made $232. Literally just by the same items I listed, those cross listed. Two was a bundle, and then one sold by itself with a best offer. So it's those type of stuff why I think it's still worth it. It's like, granted, they probably would have sold on eBay. Just to be specific, I had 3 pairs of vintage Gucci shoes. They wasn't in the best condition, but they were Gucci at the end of the day. And I had 4 pairs in total. I had all four listed on eBay for over a week, probably 10 days at this point. But the same day that I put it up on Poshmark, 3 of them sold. So in my opinion, I think it's definitely worth it. If I waited a little longer, would it have sold on eBay? I'm sure. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think it would sell on eBay, because just by checking the comps. And at the end of the day, Gucci is one of the highest and fastest selling brands on any platform for that matter. But the fact that I put it up on Poshmark and it sold same day is speaks for itself. You know what I mean? So definitely still worth cross listing. I think if I if for those of you that are not cross listing, I think you're probably missing out on an opportunity to make more money, because even for me this past few weeks, I've been putting more of an emphasis on selling things locally as well as cross listing. And I'm really only cross listing on eBay and Poshmark. I need to put some shoes on GOAT. I don't have as many brand new and box shoes or used shoes that are suitable for GOAT. But one thing that I've realized, regardless of the economy, you have to literally do the work. You have to put in the time. You have to put up the listings, go back into your listings, refresh stuff to take quality pictures, go back and make sure that there's no, errors in your listings. And it's a very tedious job, but I've realized that as long as I keep doing those things consistently, I always win. It might be a slow day or a slow week for that matter, but once I go back into my business and I'm actively working on the business, it picks back up and booming all over again. So you definitely want to make sure that you're just doing the work. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people think reselling is something that you can kind of set and forget and just put your listings up, especially if you only sell on Poshmark. I realize a lot of people just post on Poshmark, share their closet. Sometimes they might not even share it often enough and then kind of set it and forget it. But if you want to be a successful reseller and actually, flip those items faster, you gotta work the business. No shortcuts. No shortcuts. Dami says, "Do you think you'll do any meetup soon?" She's been teasing me to do a meetup, but I do think I want to do a meetup. If you guys are interested in a meetup in the Phoenix area, drop a comment. Let me know, or let me know somehow. Drop a comment. Let me know if you'd be willing to come to a meetup. It wouldn't be anything where I'll charge any money. I'll probably do something, probably like some wine would be involved, some food will be involved, but I'll just cover everything. But just to have people come out, have a good time, get to meet you all face to face, that'll be dope. But I'll probably do something probably in the summer. I think that'll be dope. Like summer will be, of course, I'm in Arizona, so the summer will be very, very hot. So we'll do something inside. But let me know if you guys have any interest in that. It'll be something small, maybe 5, 10, 15 people, something like that. Nothing too crazy. Marilyn says, "I'm late. Yes, I'm still selling. eBay only. I need to branch out." Absolutely. You got to branch out. You got to branch out. I'm a huge fan of eBay. Trust me. I've been selling on eBay for a long time. I've been to eBay events and I've met people that work at eBay. And it's like I have it's more of like a personal relationship with eBay at this point because it's like names to faces and stuff like that. But when it really comes down to it, it's like you have to have your hands, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, as the saying goes, but you have to just have, especially if you want to be a successful reseller, you have to have your hands on the pulse in terms of different platforms. Because certain platforms, perfect example, if you come across an opportunity where you're selling, where you can find a really big heavy item like a TV or a couch, and you have no experience on Facebook Marketplace or no experience on OfferUp, you're missing out on an opportunity. Or if you're selling things on eBay and you're selling clothing on eBay and it's a brand that's very popular on Poshmark, but the person that specifically wants that item doesn't even like eBay and they prefer to buy on Poshmark, you're missing out on an opportunity. Because I think a lot of people, buyers and resellers as well, we have our biases, I should say. So you definitely just want to put your items on different platforms. Somebody might see it on eBay and also see it on Poshmark but prefer to buy it on Poshmark. Maybe because they've just had better experiences with Poshmark, maybe because they know it's going to be priority shipping, so they rather buy it there, and the priority shipping isn't coming out of your pocket. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that to consider for sure. But I would say you definitely need to branch out. Try Poshmark, try Macari, try selling locally. Um, I know people selling on Etsy, and I've been hearing so many newer platforms. I heard Kidizen the other day, which is for like kids' clothes. I mean, you definitely got to branch out. That was the main reason for my video last week on Friday, was just to encourage people to cross list, encourage people to branch outside of eBay or branch outside of Poshmark, because it's real out here. It's real out here. So you got to do the work. You got to do the work. CB4, I resell because I don't trust the government. I work for the government. This part-time gig covers me for any potential shutdowns. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It feels like almost every year, it's like a threat of a government shutdown. So I believe you. I hear you 100%. And I think when it comes down to it, it's like I'm probably not the best person to speak about 9 to 5s because I have my last 9 to 5 experience was so negative. But it's one thing to say you don't trust the government. I don't necessarily trust any job, any 9 to 5. If I was to ever go back into a 9 to 5 or full time work situation, I would never let go of reselling, because you can't put your trust and faith in these companies and these businesses. I feel like every few weeks, or maybe safer to say every quarter, we hear about tech layoffs. So we hear about layoffs in the medical and not necessarily medical industry, but specifically the tech industry. You hear about it, or in the banking industry, you hear about it, and it's for me, it's crazy. It's very disheartening, and it's one of those things where I'm thankful. Somebody else had said it earlier where they said they were just thankful for the sales and thankful that they're able to run their own business. And for me, when I hear about those types of layoffs, or I hear about a friend or a family that is dealing with, say they didn't qualify for that raise they were looking forward to, or they have a coworker they can't stand, all those types of office politics and stuff like that, I'm just thankful that I don't have to deal with any of that, because office politics that I have to deal with is like is something through messages on eBay, or like a bad buyer wanting a return or something like that. So it's definitely not the same experience for me at all. So I'm thankful. But for those of you in the chat, drop a comment. Let me know why it is that you resell. Let me know why it is that you resell. I wrote down a few other reasons here. The thrill of the hunt is huge. The thrill of the hunt is huge. For a lot of people, they can't let it go. For a lot of people, when it comes to thrifting and that thrill of the hunt, whether they do flea markets or they do garage sales, it's that rush, it's that dopamine hit that I must say I am definitely a victim of that as well. That's what kind of keeps me going to a lot of these thrift stores, because you really never know what you're going to find. And sometimes I find something that's, I tend to sell a lot of the same exact items. Like my store has become consistent because my eye gravitates towards the same exact items, the same brands. I kind of have my same rotation when I'm going through different thrift stores. So I tend to buy a lot of the same things. I play it safe now, but you still never know what you're going to get, because one day I just found an Xbox Series S, the one that doesn't take discs in games. So you just, everything is online, right? And that sells for like $200. It was $25 in the thrift store. And as soon as I walked in the door, it was bringing out the new cart. So the timing was crazy, but just the fact that I found that when I did will always keep me, wanting to check a different thrift store. I'd always have that mindset of, okay, one more store. Okay, I'll check one more store. All right, I did this, say this store was bad. All right, I'll check one more. And then if the store that I go to was really good, now I'm even more excited. Okay, I'll check one more. And it's that type of thrill of the hunt, that extra, give you that zeal, that zeal to keep pushing, because boy, it's like a drug. You find something that sells for a lot of money, and then you realize, okay, I can flip this fast, or I can hold on to this if I don't, find stuff next week. Death pile, if you will. But man, it's the thrill of the hunt will get you, boy. And it's got me for 8 years and counting. Let's see. How has finding inventory for you? Because lately things are so expensive, it's hard to find stuff to resell and make a profit. Finding inventory for me, I was gonna make a community post about this earlier in the week. So it's funny that you ask. And I'm still gonna make the post, but I took a picture of the shelves in my Goodwill, and these shelves are so empty that it is ridiculous. It's almost sad at this point. Let me see if you guys can see that. These shelves were so full at one point, so full, and now these shelves are empty. So it is a challenge to find stuff. Um, for a while, I got spoiled because my area, I didn't have to go to too many stores, and I didn't have to drive too far to come home with a ton of inventory. Now I have to drive a little further. Now I have to check a few more stores. And now I just have to really step up my work ethic in order to keep up with, the lack of inventory. And I was telling my wife, it's almost like Groundhog's Day, because I remember last year it was the exact same thing. And the year before that, it was the exact same thing. And I had these feelings of, man, I don't know if I should still do this. I don't necessarily want to do this, because it is draining when you drive to a bunch of different stores and you see shelves empty like this. It is definitely it will kill your vibe for sure. But it's part of the business and it's part of the game. And I've realized that That's why a lot of people don't necessarily stick around in reselling, and the turnover is as big as it is. Because imagine if you were somebody doing this part-time, you got off work at 5 o'clock, you checked 4 thrift stores, and you only came home with one item. Would say to yourself, is this even worth it? Because with all that driving, I was probably better off doing Uber or Uber Eats or something like that. So I, I definitely could understand why people would be very frustrated, especially during this time. Because trust me, I'm right there with you. But I think one, my experience of like realizing that this is very common, like during this time of the year, people aren't necessarily donating as much. I think once we get closer to the summer months, we might start seeing a little more in terms of donations. But then again, we might not. And I might have to, drive further out. I might have to be in Scottsdale more often, or I might have to be in Tempe more often. Or you might start seeing me making videos about being in the Adidas or the Nike outlet again. Like, you never know. But I think when it comes down to this type of business, this industry, if you're not making pivots and if you're not willing to make adjustments, you're gonna crumble. You're gonna crumble. So it is tough to find inventory. I'm not gonna jump on here and say, oh, it's so easy. Like, no, I'm just thankful that I know what to look for, and the items that I've been selling, they consistently sell, and I consistently find them. And I share a lot of those things in my videos, especially like my what so videos. I always say I sell these same exact items. So I'm just thankful that even though, I'm putting it out there, the information is out there, like I'm still finding it. So it kind of confirms that mindset of like, if it's for you, it's for you. So just stick with it, keep your head up, stay stay motivated. But most importantly, it's not just about motivation, because motivation is fleeting. It's more so about just doing the work. I realize that if I'm making sure that I do the work, if I make sure that I leave the house at an appropriate time, and I'm making sure that I'm actively searching for certain stuff, and if I don't find enough inventory, okay, I'll take that extra step, or I'll take that extra trip to another store. I'll always end up on top. You know what I mean? So I just got to do the work. Just have to do the work. Double Jump says, I resell to make extra money. Plus, it's exciting to find an item that people are sought after. Or on top of that, it's even more exciting when you have the command of the market. Absolutely, I love that. I love when I find something that uh, I might be the only person, or it might be two items, and maybe 50 sold in the last 90 days. So now I know this item is hot. So now I'm raising my price. If I got if I'm the only one with it and you need it, I'm gonna raise the price. But that is super dope to have that have command of the market for sure. I know exactly what you mean. And sometimes it's something small. And I think it comes with experience too, because for some people, I know like if you check the eBay app and you check the sold listings, and it's not a ton of sold listings, and it's not a ton of active listings, you might pass on it, right? But if you have the experience in knowing about a certain item that is very rare, and especially if you utilize stuff like Terapeak, and I forgot the other name of that, was it Wonder Point or something along those lines, that give you data on items that sold beyond 90 days. If you use those type of apps and platforms, you can really get a better command of the market, because now you're just tapping into the data, and with the data you could really make some good money. Corey says, I've been selling off and on for 16 years. No day is ever the same. Absolutely. No day is ever the same. Some days I'm coming home car full with a whole bunch of stuff. And then some days I come home and I might just have, 5, 10 things. And then you just never know. You never know. But it's still that thrill of the hunt that'll get me. It's still that thrill of the hunt that'll always kind of have me in a vice grip, because you never know. You might find something that I actually love more often than not, finding a profitable item, because of course I love doing that. But I love when I'm in search of a specific thing. Like me and my wife will be talking about, oh, we need a new blender to make protein shakes, right? And then 2 days later, I find a blender. Like those types of stuff. Oh man, Can't make that up. Those types of stuff for me is like even more exciting sometimes than finding the profitable, or maybe not more. They're like 50-50. They're like the same. They're definitely like the same, one in one. Let me see. I wrote down some more reasons. If you're in the chat, let me know why it is that you resell. But I wrote down just a few other reasons as to why I think people resell, right? And one of the things is you enjoy being a problem solver. And that was something that I find a lot of joy in, just literally being a problem solver. Because when you're buying stuff and you're selling things online, you are literally solving a problem for somebody. And whether it's selling that rare item that, whether it's a remote that's specific to whatever item that they have, and you're the only place they can get it is on eBay, and you're the only person that might have it, and you're literally solving a problem for them. And for me, that always makes me feel good because it's like, I always lean to like being a problem solver, so that definitely always makes me feel good. But just running a business and dealing with the ups and downs of business and figuring out a way to still make money, figure out a way to still keep your business going. For me, that is always so dope. Just figuring out how to make the pivots, because through this business I learned a lot about myself. Like I've learned that, I am super consistent, but I do have that level of, perseverance, that level of tenacity to like keep going, because I think moving forward in 2024 and 2025, we're going to see a lot of people enter reselling, and we're going to see a lot of people leave reselling. And some people that jump into reselling, they might jump out as fast as they came, because the game is different. The game is different. I literally just made a short a few days ago talking about like how different reselling has become over the past few years. And I think for me, in 2021 and 2020, when reselling was booming and you could put up a pair of shoes that's dirty and, just cooked, and it'll still sell, those days are over. You can't do that anymore. Like you got to make sure that your listings are appealing. You have to make sure that what you're selling, it's better than the next person, because why would they choose your item? And I remember, like I said, in 2021, when a lot of people was kind of jumping into reselling, it was so easy. It was too easy. So I think that's something that a lot of people are going to learn from, and a lot of people are going to have to make those pivots in order to keep their business afloat. What's good, Derek, my brother? What's going on? What's going on? Drop a comment. Let me know why it is that you resell. Let me know why it is that you resell. I mentioned it earlier, but seeing Derek there, I just instantly thought of family again, because, like I said before, um, when it comes to reselling, I've realized that it gave me an opportunity to be as present as I wanted to be for my family. And with any other job, any other 9 to 5, feel like I would have missed out on a lot. I would have, without a doubt, I would have missed out on a lot. And the thing is, you're as a business owner, you're still going to miss out on certain stuff for sure. But for the most part, I don't really miss too much of anything. And I think it's because of the flexibility of having my resale business. And some days I work a lot, some days I don't work at all. Some days I'm packing up orders nonstop, and then some days, I might not have a ton of orders to pack. So I'm just, hanging with the kids, or I'm doing something on YouTube, or, it's just that freedom of having the ability to do what you want. And I think for me, that's been priceless. It is tough. It is tough because when business isn't booming, sometimes I'm like, oh man, maybe I should get a job. Maybe I should do something else, because when business isn't booming, your mind will play tricks on you and have you thinking what you're doing isn't working. But it's those small wins that like remind me, like, keep going, keep going. What you're doing is working. Like the simple fact that I've been able to purchase a house through reselling is still so crazy to me. Sometimes I pull up to my driveway and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. Like I haven't, like I still haven't forgot that. And that to me is a blessing. We got Regina in the building. What's going on, Regina? How you doing? I love reselling. Me too. Me too. Love reselling. Just talking about, the joys of it. Reminding myself why reselling is so good, because in today's economy, it's tough, and a lot of people are putting out. I'm not going to say clickbaity stuff, because clickbait isn't always a bad thing, but it is sometimes leaning toward negativity. But I've realized it is a lot of positives when it comes to reselling, and this isn't the first time that we're kind of all experiencing a slowdown or a downturn. But everything comes in waves. Everything is going to have its time, and we're going to experience um, like that big boom that we had a few years ago. And I don't necessarily think it's on the downturn. I think it's more so like leveling out. It's the curve is starting to balance itself out. Because if you think of just a bell curve, we was going straight to the moon. Everybody was killing it. Everybody was rich. Everybody was rich. And now I think it's just starting to come back down to reality. And the reality of it is if you don't work, if you don't put in the time, put in the effort, put in the education, you're not going to succeed. And I think when a few years ago you didn't have to do all of that. You could take a bad picture, you could barely put anything in your description, you can ship it out whenever you want. Like, it was a lot of people that was skipping steps and still seeing a certain level of success. And I think now, moving forward, for those that are resilient but are also good business people, we still going to succeed. It might not, it might not be that huge boom as it was before, but just as long as you wait it out. It's almost like I want to equate it to Bitcoin, because at one point Bitcoin was like, was 10 cents, $100, very low, $10, whatever you want to call it. And then a lot of people started selling, a lot of people started becoming more aware of it. And we just seen Bitcoin go to 65,000 a few years ago. Then it went down, and then it basically crashed down to almost 17,000, and now it's back up to a whole new high. Now we're at almost, I didn't check this morning, but I think it's at like 70,000 now. So it's like every industry, we're always going to see these big upswings and these downswings. And for those that kind of endure and steady and stay the course, we always succeed. Always succeed. Man, Derek, what is one of your goals in reselling this year? Man, that's a good question, because I usually always set goals at the top of the year for specific things in my life. Like, I set like a fitness goal this year that I'm staying on top of, so I'm happy about that. But I didn't necessarily set any reseller like reselling business goals. I really didn't, and I'm not sure why. But just thinking, just to like answer the question, I'm thinking one of my big things is to one grow the business, but like just learn more categories. Because last year I spent a lot of time getting into golf, right? So I was able to, now I have over 100 golf clubs in the house, just stacked up. And when golf season comes around, like summertime comes around, I know those things are going to fly, right? But if it wasn't for me taking that like time to myself to educate myself on golf clubs and what to look for, what not to look for, I would have definitely been missing out on a ton of money. Like, I would think of all the times that I would go to thrift stores, and like a nice bag of golf clubs would come out, and you would see people like run to it, and I'm like, why y'all want golf clubs? Like, what's wrong with y'all? And now I get it, because golf clubs, I've sold some clubs for $200. I've sold $200 drivers. I've sold $120 pitching wedges before. Like, it's insane how expensive golf equipment can be. And then when you get into uh, start looking at golf shoes or certain golf clothing, certain golf brands like Grayson and G4 and uh, what's something else that I see out here in Arizona, Devereaux. You start seeing these different brands sell for a good amount of money, especially brands like G4 and what was the other one I just mentioned? Sunday Swagger is another one I just sold not too long ago. Grayson is another one. once you start educating yourself on different brands, now you just open the floodgates for more money. So in terms of, for me this year, I think I want to just expand my education, expand to new categories. So I got the golf down. Right now, I'm pretty knowledgeable in audio equipment, stereo equipment, cameras. Um, I don't know the category off the top of my head right now, but I definitely want to learn some new categories. But also, just different sourcing methods, because I know you've been doing the storage unit thing, and I'm playing. Like I was just on there the other day looking at storage units that were storage unit auctions that were ending in my area pretty soon, and I'm just like, I gotta get on this. Like I gotta get on this because somebody asked earlier how was sourcing, how it's so expensive to find good inventory, and I'm like, I just need to take advantage of, different opportunities. And if a storage unit could be something that can change the game for me, it could also help me buy back some time as well. Because if I'm going to all these different thrift stores and, garage sales on the weekends and stuff like that, if I could just buy some storage units and just do all my sourcing in just a couple of days, that's it. Buy back some time. Now I'm spending even more time with the babies. We just got another one that's crazy. Our best one yet. You see, I know you made a video, so I'm looking forward to it. Because if this is your best one, boy, I know that one that you had. I mean, the one that went viral, that was crazy enough. That was crazy enough. That one with the with all them Gucci shoes was crazy. But you got a lot that was some bangers. So if you found one that's even better now, I mean, the one you just put up the not too long ago with the cowboy boots, man, that was good money in that one. But yeah, I think that's two goals. One is to learn about another category, another good profitable category, but the other one is to get another sourcing method. But and flea markets is something that I've always been aware of, but selling at a flea market, thanks to you, Derek, selling at a flea market has become a little more appealing to me now, because I know for sure I was not a fan of the haggling and the back and forth, and I'm still not. But I think there's ways to do it in a way where you won't have to haggle too much, and you won't have to, um, make it a negative experience, because you go to the flea market, you set up and you having fun. You cracking jokes, you having fun with it, you enjoying yourself. So you making me think that it's something that I could at least give a try. At least give a try. Corey says made a bag off those Titleist hats. Yeah, Titleist, Callaway, Ping, like all of those golf club brands. Telling you, it's money. It's money in them. Thanks for the help with the thumbnails. Oh, no doubt, bro. That's what we do. That's what we do. That's what we supposed to do. Flea markets are cool. Yeah, I mean, the thing with the flea markets for me is that I never liked the haggling. So I went to the Rose Bowl in California a few years, a few times I went a few years ago, and people would get there super early. They'll have their little their little flashlight on their head, a little headband with a flashlight, and they get into it. And a lot of them, sometimes, I remember it was this Asian family. They would have the flashlight on, and it would be maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. They'll have the shopping cart, and they would only look for denim. They were only buying denim, and I knew that they was making a killing with that denim, because the way how they was, first of all, they was fly. Like they knew what to look for, but they were literally just had shopping carts full of denim, and I was like, man, this is a good place to source for certain stuff. But even at that time, I was saying that um, sourcing at flea markets was kind of expensive, especially maybe it was just the Rose Bowl and it was like a popular thing, but people was charging like $40, $50, not necessarily eBay prices, but a little bit below eBay prices for their items. So in my mind, I was saying to myself, I don't know if it's worth it to actually do that, to buy anything from a flea market. But depending on the flea market, if you get something for $1 and then sell it for 20, or buy a bunch of stuff in bulk from somebody for super cheap, and you're selling it online cheaper as well, I mean, there's money to be made. It's money to be made. So So I'm gonna look into it for sure. I know they got to be one in my area because there's a lot of people out here that all they do is sell at flea markets. All that's all they do. Whether it's that or it's garage sales or it's offer up, it's way more people in my area that sell locally than they sell online, and I know that for sure. So I'm definitely gonna just switch it up, just get out my comfort zone, and if I don't like it, well, just get back to what I'm doing. But in terms of goals, just get out of my comfort zone, do a little something different. Diane says, I started reselling when I started to declutter my apartment and did it as a test to see if I could resell used items. That's the best way to do it. I think most people have too much stuff in their house. Most people like have excess items. So it's like if you can start to declutter, but not just drop it off to Goodwill or drop it off at, Salvation Army, or worse, just throw it out. If you can make some money, why not? And that's the thing. It's like it might not sell for what you bought it for, but you can still make some money from it. So I love that. I love that. Drop a comment. Let me know why it is that you all resell. I broke down a bunch of different reasons. I don't have any more reasons in my phone, but I mean, for me, I think reselling it's one of the oldest industries in the game, and it's going to be here for a long time. It's going to continue to be here. I think I think only the strong will survive. And that's like any other business, but only the strong will survive. And if you want to do it, you'll do it. And if you want to do something else, they will leave. And I think, like I said, with all the negativity that I've been seeing, man, I wanted to just put this out just to give people a reminder, just to give people a reminder of to why it is that you're doing what you're doing, and to see the potential in what you're doing. Because if you only focus on the negativity, you would most definitely just stop and try and do something else. But the potential in reselling is huge. Like there's people that I know that I've been following on YouTube. They went from just selling out of their garage, or they may have started with a closet in their home, to now they have multiple warehouses and factories and employees. I'm telling you, it's the potential is there, but it's only for those that want to do the work, because it's not a walk in the park. Reselling will never go away. Absolutely not. As long as there are products to sell and there's platforms to sell products, it'll never go out. And the thing is, it'll always be platforms to sell products, because you can always just do a garage sale. You could always just drive around and sell it out your trunk. So if you got something that people need, reselling will never go away. Are you still hitting up Ross? I haven't been in Ross, man. I haven't been in Ross in a while, and it's not that I don't like Ross. It's just that the Rosses in my area, they don't get, like when I lived in Mesa, boy, the Ross over there, I felt like they would get all of the good stuff. Like I've watched Hustler Hacks, and I would watch a lot of his stuff. And out in Texas, it seems like he just finds all of the good stuff, right? And for a long time, I was feeling that the Ross that was in my area was just as good as his, because I would find a ton of stuff out there. And believe it or not, for a long time, when I lived on that side of town, all I would do was make would for the most part. I'm not gonna say all I would do, but maybe 80% of my business was Ross, Burlington, Nike outlet, Adidas outlet, those types of stuff. Retail arbitrage, if you will. So, and it's just it's just tough. And I would see people put comments under my videos at that time and say, um, "Oh, my Ross is terrible. I could never make money from my Ross." And I would just be like, "Okay, well, it is what it is." But now I see exactly what they mean, because when I go to Ross, all I'm seeing is Nautica sneakers and Fila socks, and nobody wants that. So I ain't even doing it. Learning new ways to resell is key for us. Yeah, because I know you guys on Whatnot. Um, that's the live auction site. I know I'm not on that either, but I know you guys are on Whatnot doing your thing on there. You're doing the flea markets. So yeah, y'all tapped into multiple outlets. So y'all doing good. I'm happy for y'all, man. Y'all doing real good. But yeah, if anybody else got any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm gonna be on here for a few more minutes. I got about 5 or so minutes, depending on how many questions we get. But yeah, man, this was good. I'm just trying to I'm gonna try to get back to doing these lives at least once a week and get on here and just chop it up with you guys in a less formal context in terms of how I usually would film. This isn't the setup that I wanted to do. Trust me, I wanted to have my lighting and my camera and my mic, but I realized that I left a couple things in at home that I'm bring with me next time. So moving forward, the quality will be better. But trust me, I just want just the same message I'm preaching about doing the work and just getting to it. I told myself, I said I was gonna go live today. So regardless of the setup and regardless of the quality and all those things, just get it done. So I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, even though I'm using a webcam. What items sell all year round? Good question. So top of my head, first thing that comes to mind is electronics, specifically modems. Those cable modems, and not cable modems, internet modems and routers all year round, no matter what the season. I literally just sold one as we've been here for 129. A Netgear Nighthawk. This one right here for 129. And these types of stuff, I'm not going to say this specific one is going to sell all the time because it will, but I don't find this one all the time. So specific routers, those internet modems, um, sneakers all year round. It doesn't matter. Sneakers all year round. Specifically like running shoes and hiking boots all year round. Those are stuff that people are going to want regardless of what's going on. Um, Camera equipment, even those small point and shoot cameras, those little digital cameras, I've been finding them more and more now for like $10, $15, sometimes $5. And a lot of those cameras, they're selling for like 100, sometimes 150. Those sell all year round. And I think that's why I moved from clothing to electronics because it's a more consistent thing. Clothing pretty much sells all year round as well, but you're not going to sell a bunch of jackets in the summer and you're not going to sell swim trunks in the winter. Like you might if somebody's going on vacation, but for the most part, clothing is very seasonal. So that's why I went to the electronics for sure. Yeah, Derek knows. He says jeans, electronics, shoes sell all year round for sure. You know, toys too. Toys is something I haven't gotten too much into, but I see people going to the thrift store and they're grabbing up these little bags and they're selling these toys like crazy. And I did sell toys. I have some experience selling toys. I'm not gonna make it seem like I'm an expert, but I most definitely I hit up I hit up my boy Derek that lives in Cali as well. I don't know if Regina's still in here, but I hit up Derek. They have a show on Wednesdays because he sells toys. And I was asking him just about certain brands, certain toy models to look for. And I ended up buying a bag of like Batman toys, Joker, Robin, all these different stuff. And I just don't spend the time looking for them as much as I used to. But they it's more of a collectible. So although they sell all year round, I think during this particular time, people aren't as frivolous with buying collectibles, right? So even though they do sell all year round, I think the price point on a lot of them have gone down. Sorry to interrupt. Next reservations here. All right, thank you. Yeah, they are. So got a couple minutes left. What camera do you use? Oh, right now I'm using the Logitech Brio camera. This is a webcam, but the camera that I typically shoot with is the Sony uh, R7 III. Let me see. The camera I'm shooting with is the A7 III. I said R7 III, but the Sony A7 III is what I typically shoot with. This is an older camera, but it's one that gets the job done. But my time is coming to a close. It's almost 6 o'clock. I'm about to head home. But I do appreciate you guys for rocking with me and joining the live today. And I'm gonna make sure I get back to doing these lives. I'm gonna try to do it at least once a week. Moving forward, I'm gonna try at least once a week. So if I could get it done once a week, I'll get it done. If not, well, I'll catch you the next week. But thank you guys for all the questions and all your help. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.